In this video, we'll try to understand how we can go and create our own custom view engine in MVC. Now, when we go and create project in MVC 3 and above, everybody must have seen this drop down here of view engine. So in this drop down, we have two view engines here. One is ASPX and one is Razor. And I'm sure that many developers must be thinking that, can we go and create our own engine over here, and can we go and have our own syntaxes? So the answer is yes. You can go and create your own custom view engine, which has its own syntaxes, and you can go and plug that view engine into the MVC project. So in this video, we'll try to see that how we can go and create our own custom view engine. Now, before we go ahead and we start writing logic for our view engine, let's first define the overall steps needed to create a view engine and to register that view engine in the MVC view collection. So the first thing what we need to write is we need to write a class file which will actually have the logic of how to go and parse the view engine. So as we said previously, in our view engine, we are going to have a simple tag, where we'll write date and time, and it will actually go and display the date and time, right? So the first step is we need to go and create a class file which will actually have this logic to parse this date and time tag. So once you're done with this step, the second thing is we need to go and create the object of this class file, and the third step is we need to go and register this object in the MVC view collection. So in order to create your own view engine, it's a three-step process. The first thing is you need to go and write the logic of how exactly your commands are going to be parsed. Second, you need to go and create the object of that logic, and then finally you need to go and register that object in the MVC view collection. Now, when we talk about view engines, every view engine have their own syntaxes. For example, let's say when we talk about ASPX view engine, and let's say if you want to display current date and time, so what you'll do, you'll say percentage equal to date time dot now, right? Something like this. In the same way, let's say if it's a Razor view engine, then you will start with the @ sign, and you will type here date time dot now. Now what we'll do is we'll go and create our own view engine, and in this view engine, so we'll call this view engine as our engine, okay? And in this view engine, if you want to display date and time, then you have to type here like this, date time, and with the greater than sign and the less than sign tag. So if any person goes and types this command in the view, right, then it will go and display the current date and time. So let's go ahead and create a custom view engine wherein when anyone goes and types date time, it will actually go and display the current date and time. So in order to create our custom view engine, you can see that I have created a very simple project here called as MVC custom UI. Now the first thing what we'll do is let's go ahead and add a very simple controller here. So I'll just go and add a controller, and this controller will actually go and invoke our custom view engine. Okay, so I'll just go and add a controller here, and this controller will name it as custom view. Now in the previous part of the video, we already discussed that we need three things to create a view engine or to create a custom view engine. The first thing is we need to write logic of how the view will be parsed, right? Second, we need to create an object of this view logic what we have written, and third, we need to register it, right? We need to register this object in the view engine collection. So what we'll do is let's go ahead and create a class here called as my view, and in this my view we'll go and write the logic of how the view will be parsed. So let me just go ahead and create a simple class here, public class my custom view, right? And in this class we will write the logic of how the view will be parsed. Now in whichever class we are going to go and write our logic of how the view will be parsed should implement the interface iView, or else the view engine collection will not be able to identify this view engine. Okay, so we need to ensure that we implement this iView interface, which actually belongs to system.web.mbc namespace. So there I have implemented iView. Let me just go and implement the methods of iView. Now as soon as we go and implement the interface iView, you can see that he has come up with a function here called as render function. In this render function, we need to go and put the parsing logic. In other words, here we need to go and put the logic of parsing the date time tag, right? Now there is one more thing we need to define in this class. Every view which is stored, whenever you create a view and you store the view, it is actually stored into some folder. For example, when you right click and add a view, right, it actually gets stored into this views folder. So this class also needs some kind of a variable where we can go and give where exactly is the folder where your view will be lying, right? So in this class my custom view, let's go ahead and create a property called as path. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a simple property here. We can use this prop full code snippet. So this will be a string property underscore folder path, right? So this property will help us to define where our views are stored. Okay, let me just go and build this project. Now the next thing what we need to do is we need to go and write the parsing logic for the view. So for the parsing logic, the first thing what we have to do is we have to read the view file, right? Read the view file. Once we read the view file, we need to go and replace the date time tag with datetime.now value, right? And finally, this replace data has to be sent for display, right? So in order to read this file, we need to use system.io. So first thing is, let's go ahead and import this namespace here, system.io. Without system.io, we won't be able to read the file, right? The view file. So to read the file, we'll say string str file data file dot read all, okay, or I'll say read all text. And from where you want to read all the text, from this folder here, right? So underscore folder path. And the next thing what we would like to do is we'd like to go and replace this raw data, this str file data, right, with the date and time value. Okay, so wherever we find this date and time tag, we would like to go and replace the value. So whatever data comes finally, I'll go and store it in str final variable. So I'll say replace this date and time tag, wherever I find this date and time tag, with the current date and time value. And once this value is stored into this str final, go and write this str final back to the end user or back to the browser. So in order to send this data back to the browser, we can say a writer. You can see that we are getting here a text writer object, right? This text writer object is the object where you will go and write that data so that it can be rendered on the view. Okay, so I'll say a writer dot write this final data final, right? So this will now go to the end user for display, right? So our view is now almost complete. So we have this folder path. From this folder path, he will read the view file. He will replace wherever he finds a date and time tag with the actual value, and then that is sent to the view for display. Okay, so I'll just go and build this, and everything is fine. Good. Now we have already said in the previous part of the video that creating a custom view engine is a three-step process. First is you need to write the parsing logic. We have already done. You can see that we have created a my custom view class here, and in the render function we have already written the parsing logic. Now the next thing is we need to go and create the object of this my custom view and register this object in the MVC view collection. Now creating object of this my custom view is not straightforward. if you want to create an object of this my custom view and register it in the MVC view engine collection, you need to first create a class which inherits from the virtual path provider view engine, and that class will go and create the object of my custom view. So in other words, the first step what we need to do is first step what we need to do is we need to go and create. So the step 1 is done. Okay, the step 1 is done. Okay, and now it is time for step 2. So for this we first need to go and create a class here, my view engine provider, and this class will inherit from virtual path provider view engine class, and inside this class we will create the object of my custom view. Okay, and then this class will be registered in the view engine collection. So that is step 3 that we'll do finally. Okay, right. Now the next thing what we need to do is we need to provide two things. First, where exactly are our views stored, in which directory are our views stored, and second, what is the extension, or file extension of our view. So what we can do is we can go and provide these details in the constructor. So you can see that I've gone ahead and I've created a simple constructor here of my view engine provider, and in that you can see I have provided the path. So you can see that I'm saying that the views can be stored in two folders. One is it can be stored in the views folder, and the second is it can be stored in the shared folder, and the extension of my view will be named as my view. That means, like for example, when we create a razor view, we name the extension as .cshtml. When we create a ASPX view, we name it as .aspx. So in the same way, this view, it has to be named with the extension .myView, then only my engine will parse it. So you can see that we have provided the location and the extension of our views. Okay, now the next step is to create the object of the class which has the view engine parsing logic, that is my custom view. Now this object can be created and returned if we override this create view function. So what we can do is we can create the object here and return this object of my custom view so that it can be registered in the view engine collection. So in other words, you can see that I have pasted some ready-made code over here. So you can see in this code I have created this my custom view object, the object of my custom view class. I have set the path where the views will be stored, and I have returned this view parsing logic so that it can be registered in the view engine collection. So we have done two steps. One is we have written the logic of parsing. Second is we have created the object of the view logic, and now the final thing is we need to go and register this object in the view engine collection. Now the best place to register the view engine is in the application start event in the global.asx file. Now application start event actually runs for the first time when your application actually starts, right? So this is the best place where we can go and register this view engine in the view engine collection. Now remember that our view engine is residing in the controller. So the first thing what we need to do is we need to go and import the controller's namespace here, right? So that is done, and now the next thing is we need to go and add this view engine, that is my view engine provider, in the view engine collection. Now to go and add the view engine provider into the view engine collection, we need to use the view engines collection. You can see here we have something called as view engine. So we have to say here view engines dot add. So what do you want to add? We want to add this guy, that is my view engine provider, right? So I'll say here new my view engine provider. Let me go and just build this project here. Build. Okay, so we have an error here, and this error is very natural error. If you read this error, it's saying that you have not implemented the create partial view method. Right, so let's go ahead and implement the create partial view method. Now we have already implemented the create view method, right? So in the same way, we need to go and implement the create partial view. Now in this partial view, the same code is going to be there. So I'm going to just go and copy this code here as it is. So this create view function is helpful when you're actually just creating a simple view, or when you have a simple view. And if in case you have a partial view, then you will use this one. Okay. This is the partial path, right? So currently, we are not going to use a create partial view method as such, but this create view method is going to be very useful. Right. So let me just go and build this project. So I hope that now we'll not have any errors. And build succeeded. Very good. So now that we have created, our view engine, now the next thing is we need to go and create a view. So we need to go and create a view with the extension of my view, right? And over there we'll go and put this command, that is date time. So what I'll do is, let me go to my solution explorer here. Let me right click on this views folder and let me go and add a view. Now remember that when you go and add a view, you can only add a razor view or ASPX view from this add view dialog box, right? So we cannot, now our view does not have any kind of a UI like this. So what I'll do is, I'm going to go and add a text file. I'm going to go and add a new item, and I will name my text file extension as .myview. So let me go and add a text file here, and this text file will have an extension .myview. So I'll just say this is this view name as hello, and I'll say add. So here let's go ahead and say today's date is date time. Now this is the command which our view engine understands, right? So I'll go and save this, and now this view has to be invoked also, right? So we'll go to our custom view controller here, and over here I will say that let's go and create action here called as my view, and this will return this view hello. Okay, now let's go and build this, and let's do a control F5. Now let's try to go and invoke this my view function or my view action, I'll say, and let's see that if it goes and displays today's date is 12/12/ whatever value it is, right? So let's try to invoke this controller / customer view / my view. So now what it should do is, it should display me here today's date is, and with the current date and time, right? So you can see that he has actually popped up me an error here saying that he is not able to locate this view, my view. And that is right, because you can see that what he's trying to do is he's trying to locate this my view either in the customer view folder or either in the shared folder, right? And currently our view is not located in either of them. So what I'll do is, let me go and add a folder here called as shared folder, right? And let me move this view inside the shared folder so that he can locate it, right? Because if you remember right, we had given the path as that you can either find the view in the views folder or either you will find the views in the shared folder. So what I've done is I have gone ahead and I have moved this view into the shared folder. So now let's try to again do a refresh here. So this time we should be able to see the output, and there it is. So you can see now it is displaying here today's date is whatever is the current date and time. So it has replaced this date and time tag with the actual value. In other words, our custom view is now actually executing. Now many developers would be thinking till now, why do we need a custom view engine? Already we have Razor View Engine. We already have ASPX View Engine. Now, why do we need to go and create one more view engine with our own syntaxes, and what's the need of it? Now, many times, you'd like to give power to the end user. For example, probably you'd like to say to the end user that if you want to go and display all the customer records, you can just write here display all customer record, right? And this tag will go and display the complete customer table. He can also go and probably put some more designing here. He can say that, okay, at the end, draw a line and show sum of sales to the customer. So if you want to give more flexibility, to the end user, where the end user can go and create his own view by using some user-friendly commands, at that time you'll go and create your own custom view engine. So I hope that this session was useful. In this session we were trying to understand how to go and create your own view engine in MVC and in what scenarios you should use them. Thank you so much.